And in today's episode, among other things, you'll see the partnership between Tesla and China to accelerate the production of humanoid robots. Neuralink is giving people back their autonomy using their minds. A robot in Japan is playing basketball with really impressive accuracy. Machines that have evolved and now walk like real animals. And also a theory that suggests time can pass both quickly and slowly at the same time. Let's break all that down and look at a few other new technologies. Hello everyone, I'm Realidad Impresionante and you're watching Realidad Impresionante. And an alliance that few would have imagined a few years ago could accelerate one of the greatest technological revolutions of our time. On one side, Elon Musk, one of the most influential names in global innovation. On the other side, the industrial strength of China, which today is a global leader in production scale, supply chains, and manufacturing speed. And now this unlikely combination can be used for the mass production of American humanoid robots. Tesla executives have indicated that the Gigafactory in Shanghai could take on a central role in the future mass production of Optimus humanoid robots, signaling that Elon Musk's company is starting to treat its factories not just as vehicle assembly plants, regardless of which country they're in, but now as centers for creating intelligent machines. And yes, this could completely change the scale of this technological race. Today, one of the biggest challenges regarding humanoid robots isn't making them walk, move objects, or respond to commands. It's just manufacturing them in large quantities at a viable cost. Creating a few demonstration units is one thing. Producing thousands or millions of functional robots is something completely different. And that's exactly where Shanghai comes in. Elon Musk's Gigafactory in China has become one of Tesla's most efficient industrial assets, responsible for a huge part of the company's global production. With speed, advanced automation, and direct integration with the Chinese supply chain, the Shanghai Gigafactory represents the kind of structure that few companies in the world have. As I already mentioned, according to Tesla's own executives, this unit could become a kind of strategic key to unlocking large-scale production of these new products, including the humanoid robots. And even without giving any official details, the message is clear. Tesla is laying the groundwork. In recent years, Elon Musk has repeatedly said that the future of the company depends less and less on car sales and more on artificial intelligence, on autonomous vehicles, and of course on humanoid robots. And the Optimus robot is already being presented as a machine capable of working in factories, homes, and even caring for the elderly. But for this to move beyond the drawing board and the demo stage and actually enter our world, something that Elon Musk knows well will be needed: mass production. And maybe that's Tesla's real advantage in this competition. Many companies can build pretty impressive prototypes, but few can industrialize this innovation. If Tesla really manages to convert its automotive experience into robot manufacturing, it could accelerate years of development in a short time. Another important detail is the location. China today holds a crucial share of the global supply chain for electronic components, batteries, motors, and also precision manufacturing. In other words, producing robots in Shanghai would not only be convenient, it would be strategic. But while companies are racing to create increasingly advanced robots, my friends, on the other hand, another technology is trying to transform human beings themselves. And that's where Neuralink showed something really impressive. Let's take a look now. And a new demonstration by Neuralink has just shown that what seemed like science fiction for decades is already happening in our real world. People who lost movement, speech, and autonomy are now starting to interact with the world again using only their thoughts and technology. In the new video released by the company, participants in the clinical trials showed how Neuralink's brain implant is transforming neural signals into concrete actions. Moving the computer cursor, controlling assistive robotic arms, typing messages on electronic devices, and communicating. All of this without using hands, voice, or physical movements. Just mental intention. The company's most used system at the moment is called telepathy, and the idea is simple to understand, but revolutionary to pull off. When a person thinks about moving something, the brain generates electrical signals, and in healthy individuals, these signals travel down the spinal cord and reach the body. But when injuries or diseases interrupt this path, the interaction still exists, but it's trapped only inside the mind. Neuralink tries to rebuild exactly this bridge. The implant captures brain signals and translates them into digital commands. In practice, thought once again produces action. And the accounts presented in the video are quite profound. One participant says that before the implant, he was nonverbal, quadriplegic, and extremely limited. With the implant, he can now control the computer by thought. Another describes the emotion of moving an arm again, even if it's robotic. With that, he was able to regain functions he thought he had lost forever. But maybe one of the most impactful moments involves patients like her, with that disease that progressively takes away speech and movement. In the video, a participant communicates through a brain interface, transmitting sentences using only his mind. It's as if the technology gives back a voice that the body could no longer express. And this reveals something very powerful. Often, the problem is not in the human mind, it's in the path between the mind and our physical world. When that connection is restored, no matter the form, entire abilities can reappear. The company also talked about the next step, which is a system called blind sight, created to try to restore visual perception, even for people who have lost their eyes or optic nerve, by sending visual information directly from the brain to the new equipment. If it works, this could move things forward, a new frontier in medicine, because it would start to communicate directly with the central system that interprets the entire human experience. Of course, there are still huge challenges, technical, ethical, and also medical. But one thing is already very clear: brain-computer interfaces, brain chips, are no longer just a distant promise and are already having a real-world impact. They have already started to change people's lives right now. And a Chinese company may be about to achieve what the automotive industry has been trying to accomplish for more than a decade: turning solid-state batteries into a real commercial product. Greater Bay Technology, a company backed by the GAC Automotive Group, announced the development of its first sample cells of a fully solid-state battery with an energy density of up to 500 watt-hours per kilogram. If this is confirmed on an industrial scale, we're talking about a huge leap for electric vehicles, because solid-state batteries are considered by many experts to be the next big evolution in the industry. They promise 3 advantages at the same time: more safety, more range, and faster charging. Current batteries have a liquid electrolyte, a component that can pose risks in extreme situations. In this new project, the company claims to use a completely solid system with no flammable liquids. A density of 500 watt-hours per kilo could allow for much greater range than the current batteries we have on the market. In addition, they would be much smaller and much lighter for the same distance. In practice, this means more efficient cars, faster cars, and potentially in the future, cheaper cars. Greater Bay Technology claims it intends to start gigawatt-hour scale production as early as 2026 by the end of this year. If it meets this schedule, it could become the first company in the world to take the fully solid-state battery from the lab to large-scale commercial production. This would put China even further ahead in a race they already dominate. Today, the Asian country controls a large share of the global battery supply chain, critical minerals, and electric vehicle manufacturing. And by all indications, now they also want to lead the next generation of this new technology. And when a company announces that it's not just developing, but that the production line is ready, the market pays close attention, because the moment solid-state batteries actually hit the streets, my friends, the automotive sector could enter a new phase. But the future isn't just about practical technology, all right? While engineers are reinventing batteries and machines, scientists are now questioning something even deeper: time itself. And the new theory is just absurd. Or maybe not, right? Let's focus so we can understand this. I'm going to speak a bit slower to see if I can understand this complex subject myself. We can get it if we focus. Let's go. A scientific proposal is casting doubt on one of the biggest certainties that are fundamental to our existence: the idea that time flows in a single and continuous way. Researchers from North American institutions have presented a theory according to which time can exist in quantum superposition, that is, moving fast and slow at the same time. In other words, for certain microscopic systems, the clock doesn't have to choose a single pace. It could follow multiple paces simultaneously. And the idea comes from an old conflict between 2 giants of physics. On one side, Albert Einstein's relativity, which shows that time changes according to speed and gravity. On the other side, quantum mechanics, where particles can exist in multiple states at the same time. When these 2 views meet, something strange happens. If a quantum object can be in superposition, then the very time associated with it could also be. It would be like the famous Schrodinger's cat, which theoretically would be alive and dead at the same time, but now applied to aging. The cat would also be simultaneously younger and older. Yeah, it sounds absurd, I know, but within quantum logic, this is no longer impossible. If confirmed in the lab, the impact would be enormous. This could open the way for new future technologies, as well as ultra-precise sensors and maybe even unite relativity and quantum mechanics into a single greater theory. Yeah, after traveling through the world of physics and its mysteries, we're back to the real world with clear proof that artificial intelligence is evolving right before our eyes, my friends. Because now robots can't just see the train, what they do is move like animals, okay? Let's take a look at that. Researchers from South Korea achieved an important breakthrough, and all of this changes the robotics revolution. A team from Kaishi developed a system called DreamWalk++, capable of making quadruped robots see and adapt their movements in real time, in a way very similar to animals. In practice, the robot now doesn't just observe the environment like it used to. It identifies obstacles and decides how to walk even before touching those objects. And this changes everything. The previous sensors relied almost exclusively on internal position and balance sensors. They worked well on simple surfaces, but only reacted after bumping into or stepping on something unexpected. It was a reactive movement, but now with DreamWalk++, the robot starts to act proactively. The system combines cameras, LiDAR sensors, and internal data from the robot's own body to interpret the surrounding environment while it is walking. If it detects stairs, rocks, ramps, or holes, it immediately adjusts its steps. In the test, the results were impressive. The robot climbed a 50-degree staircase in just 35 seconds, and also overcame inclines of up to 35 degrees, thus surpassing the terrain used in its initial training. In uncertain areas, it even stopped by itself to assess the path before continuing. In other words, it doesn't just move, now it analyzes. In other tests, it managed to get over obstacles taller than its own body, while carrying extra weight and maintaining stability and balance. This shows that the technology now goes beyond laboratory demonstrations. It points to a much more real-world application. Rescue missions, dangerous industrial areas, war and more war, agriculture, forests, home inspections. In other words, places or situations where we humans are at risk or have difficulty accessing. According to the scientists, this technology could also be adapted for humanoid robots in the future. And speaking of machines that imitate our form, check out what Toyota just showed on the court, my friend. Take a look at this. And the audience in Japan, and now all of us as well, have just been introduced to a new version of the humanoid basketball-playing robot. The model called QE7 appeared in front of thousands of people in Tokyo during halftime of an official Japanese basketball league game. And it showed that sports robotics is indeed reaching a whole new level. The robot moved down the center of the court and made a free throw in front of the entire crowd. Then it moved to the sideline and attempted a three-point shot. The shot hit the rim and bounced out. Maybe that's good, maybe not. But even so, it drew intense applause from the audience. It may seem like just a mistake, but behind the scenes, there's actually a significant technological leap there. The project started in 2017 as a voluntary initiative by Toyota employees. The previous versions were already able to shoot with good accuracy, but many movements still depended on manually programmed commands. Now, QI7 or 7, if you prefer, uses reinforcement learning. It's a form of artificial intelligence in which the machine improves by repeating the movements thousands of times in a virtual environment. This concept, already used in earlier advanced AI systems, involves learning through playing chess, video games, or simulating complex tasks. In the case of the robot, this means learning balance, movement, dribbling, and motor coordination progressively. Another important change is in the physical design. The previous models had 2 wheels on each foot and could easily lose stability if one of them left the ground. Now the robot uses 1 wheel on each foot. With a more efficient dynamic balance system, this reduces falls and improves quick movements. In practice, the robot not only shoots better, now it moves better. According to Toyota's own engineers, the goal goes beyond sports. Projects like this help develop fine motor control, spatial perception, as well as decision-making and coordination between hardware and artificial intelligence. And all of this can eventually be applied in factories, logistics, personal assistants, and service robots. And the symbolic detail also draws attention. While many believe that only China and the United States were leading this new robotics race, Japan shows that it is still extremely relevant in this sector, and it does this in a smart way, turning serious research into a public spectacle. But my friends, I assure you that the performances on the courts are just the surface of all this, because behind the scenes, a much bigger transformation is already happening quietly. China is spreading its robots all over the world, and the numbers are really impressive, you know? Take a look. In recent years, it has become clear that Chinese robot production has accelerated in a very impressive way, and some regions of the country have already turned into true industrial centers specialized in intelligent machines. One of the main examples is in Anhui province, where robotic production has grown about 30 times in the last decade. At the center of this movement is the city of Yuhu, home to the country's first national robotics hub. And what is coming out of these factories shows that the Chinese strategy goes far beyond traditional industrial robots. On the production line at Automotive Robotics, a new generation of quadruped robots is already being introduced for global export. These machines are already able to walk on rough terrain, climb inclines, cross gravel, move among obstacles, and access tight spaces where humans would simply have a lot of difficulty. With night vision and autonomous operation, they have been sought after for security patrols in industrial areas, as well as in residences and large spaces. But there's another very curious detail. The same robot has also been sold as a domestic companion for families. Oh, my friends, what's going on? In other words, the same technology can be used both for surveillance and for companionship. And this shows how the market is changing. Besides the dog robots, the company also exports humanoid robots. These are about 1.67 meters tall and have a feminine form, capable of interacting in 11 different languages. And these models have been shipped in batches to countries like the United Kingdom, Poland, and Italy, indicating that mass export has already started there. This reveals something quite strategic. China is not just manufacturing robots, it is adapting its robots for multiple cultural, commercial, and social scenarios. The other sign of this transformation appears in the country's records. 10 years ago, there were only a few formal categories for robotic exports. Today, there are already several specific classes, including collaborative robots, intelligent bionic robots, and cleaning robots. This shows that when a country's bureaucracy reorganizes itself to keep up with a sector, it usually means that sector is no longer just a promise, and has indeed become a real industry. And maybe that's the main point of all this. Many still see robots as something experimental, expensive, or distant from all of us. But meanwhile, thousands of Chinese machines are already crossing borders and entering homes, businesses, and cities around the world. And this is happening basically without any big fuss, without spectacle, but on a large scale. In modern industry, those who master scale typically dominate the future. If you like this episode, please leave a like and check that you're still subscribed. YouTube has been removing some subscriptions from people. Take a look to see if you haven't lost yours too. Check if you're still subscribed to our channel. Thank you for sticking with me until now, and I'll see you in the next one. Just click on one of the two suggestions and we'll see each other soon. Click there, I'll be waiting for you, all right? Thanks and bye-bye. See you in a bit.